Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna be creating some kind of random Lotto numbers generators. Lotto, if you know, is like a nationally official gambling things in the famous in the world. But anyhow, I'm not so much of a gambler myself, and I don't totally not recommending gambling whatsoever. But I like some kind of mechanism in the gambling machine, kind of like I like the numbers they are generating, and also like the sounds and everything. But that's for another thing. I will be using Sverchok to do this. And let's say someone asks you to create a program that generates random numbers. So that should be pretty simple, right? You just use these nodes in Sverchok. You already have these nodes that generates a random number. So by default, if you look at it using the stethoscope, you can see these numbers. By default, it's generating 10 numbers, and you get these numbers, and sometimes the number is actually repeating. That's actually not correct. Let's say for Lotto, maybe they have like 44 or 42 numbers. I don't know, I can't remember. You need to select between 1 and 42 or something like that, and then they will pick random balls, maybe 6 or 7 random balls. Let's make it 6 random balls, and then the machine is kind of spinning, and it will select like random numbers. And this is kind of doing that. Very possible, like with these nodes, you might get like the same number, so you don't want that, and you also don't want number 0. I don't think so. I think this is more correct. Low and high numbers is specified, and then now you can use the seed to pick a random number. But this is not probably not 100% correct, and it's not interesting, because if you look at it, this is like the seed will always give you the same number, because this random number is pretty much like a pseudo random. So there is some kind of a random pattern already set for this node that it will pick to select random numbers between these low and high numbers, and it will generate 6 numbers. So not particularly interesting, but anyhow, you can actually output it if you like. So type in the text into this guy, and then it should basically generate some numbers. The numbers is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 number. We need to have like some kind of location matrix as well. I'm gonna be using just line, pipe in there. How many? 6. Okay, 6 number. So that will generate your real text objects. So like I said, it's not particularly interesting. And then this random number sometimes will generate the same number as well. Like this 32 and 32, that means the machine is broken and it doesn't work. I'm gonna save this as Sverchok Lotto numbers. So we're gonna fix this, and I think we can use this this method. Just use a range integer between, let's say, between, stop at 43. Let me quickly check this. So this is a range of integer number from 0 to up to 42. Okay, start from 1 up to 42. So this is correct. So we should have a total number of 42. Okay, that's cool. So we have our numbers here, and we need to pick a number. We need to pick a random number, and let's say we can use a list input or list item. This is our numbers coming in, and then oops, it crashes. So I will restart Blender real quick. Maybe I didn't turn off my computer overnight, so it's probably that's why Blender crashes. So let's reopen it really quick. So we have a list of 42 numbers from 1 to 42, and we want to list item. So this is the data coming in, and random number is gonna be like between 1 and 42. Okay, I think the idea is actually we can use shuffle. So list shuffle will shuffle this this number, and this guy right here will just pick 6 number based on that list, and then so this is another way you can generate random number. So again, this is a list of numbers between 1 and 42, and then list shuffle supposed to shuffle the list. So let's check it out. So this really shuffle the list, and this is the seed. You can randomize the seed, and then the list item will pick just the first 6 number or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will not repeat. So this is more correct for like a Lotto number generators. And yeah, so the bottom one is the quick one, and then there's this guy right here. This is more correct, and I like it. So let's save this real quick. But like I said, if we are just like pick a number based on this seed, this is not very interesting, and it gets really boring. But if you look at like lots of gambling machine, they either have like some kind, let's say for roulette, you spin the roulette, and then the machine will kind of have some kind of velocity, and then it's spinning until at some point it stops. It slowly stops, and then it will pick numbers between that closest, actually where the arrow is pointing. So that's with roulette. And then with some other gambling machine, you basically roll the dice. Roll the dice will be probably for another live noding, but I'm gonna show you one interesting trick you can use. So it's gonna be involving velocity, and so I have this setup right here that's kind of using that idea. So I have here, oh okay, this is the one with a bunch of particle. I just need a single particle, I believe. So I need to set particle to 1, and then I'm gonna save this real quick, and I'm gonna paste my thing from the other guy. This is like a more correct seed, how to pick the seed to get a random number. Okay, let me show you what's actually going on first. This is how it works. We have a particle, and the particle, you can put the particles anywhere in 3D, and then I'm gonna drop one particles, and the particle has some kind of velocity, right? And the particle is gonna be running, and it's gonna drop on the floor, and then at some point it's gonna stop. When it's stopped, I have this setup using Sverchok that's actually will, when the particle lost its velocity, or when the velocity goes below certain numbers, that means particle is dead, and then pick that frame number, and the frame number should be 104. In this case, it's 104. Once we have that number 104, we just plug it into this guy, 104, and then we have 6 number, and this is our Lotto number. I'm not sure this is like a winning Lotto number, but you can use it. You can try. Let's do it again. Like put the particle emitter somewhere else, and then go back to frame 0, and then throw the coins, or throw the particles. In this case, particle drop into the floor. Just wait a few seconds and until particles kind of stop. So we are at frame 224. If you look at our list, it stopped at 91. So go back to Sverchok and then type in 91, and this is your winning. This is your winning Lotto number. Okay, so that's how this works. But how is this possible? So I'll show you how it works. So the particle thing is pretty simple, right? I have an emitter, just a point on emitter. The point emitter is throwing a single particle. You can have multiple, but in this case, just a single particles. And you can randomize the normal and then rotations, whatever, Newton, drag and damp, just add a little bit of value, change the Brownian value. all these attributes that you can randomize to give a different result every time. And I found this this is much more exciting because it will give you some kind of number at some point. You see, this is running. You see, this keep printing until particle die. When particles stop moving in Blender, this will stop as well. Somehow I have some Brownian too strong, so it never stopped. But anyhow, this is like particle being thrown. So it will keep printing until when the particle died. Now we have number 65. Just put in 65 into the seed. And we have a new number, and this is like the winning, this is the winning Lotto number. Okay, okay. How does it work again? We are dealing with particle velocity in this case. At some point I was thinking, okay, we probably can use rigid body dynamic as well and roll like real dice. But for now it's just using particles, and particle has velocity. If you look at the 3D preview, you can see particles start red and then it will turn blue once it stops moving, and you get this number 65. That's basically there's probably a Blender Python that's enable you to monitor the particle velocity, but I'm using Sverchok, and so this is how it works. This is particle emitter, and this is particle MK2 nodes in Sverchok. This will get the particles, and we can get the velocity from these particles. And the velocity, if I'm using round here, but the original number is actually looking something like this. So what is this exactly? This is the velocity of the particles. This is 3 numbers x, y, z, which is the velocity or directions of the particles where it's traveling. Whether it hits the collision of the floor or whatever, influenced by force, it will have certain value, velocity value that you can actually measure using this vector length. I'm using vector length to get the scalar value to measure the, what do you call it, the strength, to measure the strength of velocity. So you can get this kind of number 1.83, and then if you look at the particle, so it starts with this big value and then it's getting lower and lower and lower until it's get like close to 1, close to 0. I have this round thing that's kind of rounding, doing the rounding. You can adjust this actually, so it has more accuracy or something. Just round it to 2, I think. And then based on this round, when it hits 0, it will actually, when it is less than certain number here, it will give a true or false logic. So I'm using this logic. Once the value is below a certain number, it gives this true. Once it is true, I'm using this another logic. Basically, here, I think, and not this guy. So this is like if you have multiple particles, a little bit more elaborate. But here, the true or false, when it is true, when whatever data coming into this exact node mode is true, stop printing and just output a number. So this actually doesn't quite work. So I'm trying to output the last value. Perhaps I should do it this way. Number equal my number, or last frame equal 0. And then here, last frame equal whatever current frame is, and then the output is going to be equal last frame. This might not work, I don't know. Maybe I should test it first. I kind of want this output to give a number. Oh, I can't remember if this is actually the way you do it. I have to double check. Is this out? It's gonna be out. Maybe. No, I have to double check. But this one will not give any kind of output, but it will still print out the last frame before it stops. So once again, I will try. Put the emitter somewhere and then go to frame 0 and then throw the particles. It's gonna keep running. If the particle velocity goes to 0, this become true, and then when it's true, it's gonna stop printing. So that's the last value being printed, 102. That means 102 is something that you pipe into the random number generator to get the winning Lotto number, which is this guy right here. So that's your winning Lotto number, 1, 16, 22, 32. So this is like a one way you can approach kind of like a gambling machine inside Sverchok. Just for fun, you know, you can play with this. Try like write a numbers and then check it out whether you are winning. If you get all 6 correct, and then that means you are really like you can read a winning Lotto number and you win. So yeah, that's the whole idea. Whether you throw a coins or a dice, I might try the dice thing at some point and make like some kind of procedural. But the dice, you know, I think rigid. That's just rigid body dynamic. It's like a real thing. You throw a couple of dice, and then you get the total number of the dice, and then you check it whether it's even number, big or small number, or things like that. But in this case, we are really throwing particle. Let's say you have like if I throw like 10 particles, see 10 particles, and I'll stop it. And with 10 particles, I actually have another setup right here, like I told you. And this will monitor all the particles. Once all the particles become blue and die, this becomes true. So this is just another way you can use this. So this is a different thing, but you can definitely use it. Plug it into that guy. So now if we have like 20 particles, throw it. Look at this. It will keep printing until all the particles stop moving, and then it stops printing. And you get the number. See, 90. 90, that means you put a 90 into this guy. And that's going to be your winning Lotto number. 42, 35, whatever. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this live coding. It's quite interesting to study this kind of algorithm to create like random numbers. I think it's just a fun way you can do it inside Blender game engine, and then with some sound you can have like a mini casino or something. But yeah, this is just some kind of logic game. Anyhow, I'm interested more with this exact node, and I'm still have to figure out how to output the number. But anyhow, that's pretty much it. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.